Hello everybody, I don't know if this is going to work. I have brought everything downstairs to look at doing a TBR video with you. The thing that this exercise has really brought home to me is that my TBR is not in any kind of organised state at all. So this video might turn into a little bit of a bookshelf tour if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in. My last video was talking about how I was slumping a little bit, struggling to get into books that I was reading. I'd been reading in some cases, solenoid. I've been reading them for many months and not really getting anywhere with them. And I feel I need to be a bit more careful about what I'm choosing to read and making sure I'm in the mood for them. And also perhaps it might be a good idea for me to just move on from a few of the things I'm trying to push myself through when it's not the right time for me to be reading them. But I do find it very difficult once I've started a project to kind of just skip on to something else. I'm sure a lot of you empathise with that problem. So we are downstairs. I've got my new rotating bookshelf here, which has quite a lot of books that I'm intending to read super soon on it. As I said in my last video, as things get further down the house, that's where it gets closer to me reading it. But obviously we've got the autumn coming up, so I want to be making sure I'm reading books that I'm likely to be vibing with in that particular season. I hope the audio is okay down here. I've not tried doing it's kind of like a cottagey type room, so yeah, I apologise if my sound isn't as clear today. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes, and I'll probably be back upstairs for the next one. So it's just so I don't, if I'm showing you my rotunda bookshelf, I don't want to be looking, I mean this isn't coming up 2 flights of stairs. I've got a lovely reading retreat coming up. If any of you are going to be with me on that, you know who you are, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all. We've got a readathon planned on Litsy, and yeah, I need to be catching up with Herkyard. I need to be catching up with all that reading I was supposed to be doing when my brain's had other ideas. So yeah, it was a bit of chaos today, and let's just talk about books. Pretty much just, spend half an hour with me and we'll talk about books. Because one of my favourite activities is just going through the books that I have, the adventures I'm going to go on. I read somewhere on a meme because it was basically counteracting the why have you bought so many books, you don't need all of those, you're not going to read them in the next year. What we're curating here is a wonderful menu, a menu from which we can choose. And up in my loft looking for books, I was able to kind of pick a few that I was interested in reading real soon. And what I want you to do is help me, if you see any books on the course of this journey, if you see any books that I simply have to read, just give them a shout out in the comments and say, Ray, that is one that you need to be looking at soon. And there are certain things I'm not in the mood for at the moment. So I'm not in the mood for anything really elaborately good. Like that's not the right word. So heavy literary fiction, I think I'll probably struggle with at the moment. And I want to be in more of a state of mind where I can fully appreciate it, really, because, for example, Cam's a friend of mine who watched my last video and commented that I should read A Prayer for Owen Meany. What a book, absolutely fantastic book, and I would recommend it to all of you, but it's probably not the sort of thing that I'm in the right frame of mind to be reading at the moment. I'm not in the mood for anything too emotional, I'm not in the mood for anything too hard-hitting, but also I'm not in the mood for anything too gooey either, so, because that will frustrate me, you're kind of healing fiction. I'm not in the mood to have my heartstrings tugged in any direction. I want some plot, I want some vibes, I want some intrigue, some mystery maybe, I want a hook. I want a hook to kind of reel me in. And yeah, so let's get started and I'll show you some of the books that I've got down here. If there's anything that you think yeah, Ray, you should be prioritizing that, then give me a shout out in the comments. This is an interactive experience, and I mean, we all know that I don't stick to plans when it comes to reading, so it's one of those. So first of all, I'd just like to say there are a few books that I've been meaning to read for absolutely ever, and I haven't managed to get them read, and they've just been sitting nearer and nearer to my sofa so that I can grab them when I can. And there's a few of these books that are very high priority. So first of all, we have, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about The Tainted Cup, A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, who I absolutely adored the first book of. Fungal punk detective noir with a kind of Sherlock Holmes Watson pairing with a lot of neurodiversity rep in there. Brilliant eccentric characters who you want to hear more about. They're a real odd couple, completely different from each other, bring completely different skills to the investigative team, and I just absolutely love the first one, so I'm really looking forward to the second one, which I'm assuming will stand alone as well. This is the UK cover. I do have the American cover as well, and yeah, sometimes, you know, when you're looking forward to a book so much that you don't read it because you want to be in the right frame of mind, but then the right frame of mind never arrives and you just end up avoiding that book for years and years and years. This is one of them, and I want this to be no longer. I'm taking this on my reading retreat with me. This is number one in the bag that is coming with me. Similarly, a debut fantasy that I've been told is absolutely brilliant, and who I get really good vibes from the author on Instagram. She seems great. So A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayinde. I am expecting this to be really good, which is probably a mistake because obviously if you have high expectations, you're more likely to be disappointed. But I still really want to read this book. And I have wanted to. It gives me kind of epic vibes. I love the cover. I love I just have a good feeling about this one. So this one is high up the list as well. Projects I need to finish. You may have seen our feature-length blog about Dragonfall on my friend Faye's blog. Faye's blog. Emberclaw is the second half of the duology. I need to read it before I forget all about it, which means it's probably never going to get read. It's like the more I need to read a book, the less likely I am to read it. It really is a problem. I need to finish the first law. Is it first law or third law? First law. I need to finish the First Law trilogy. I don't want to do a Hyperion. So Hyperion I have read 2 or 3 times. I've read Hyperion, the first book, and I have not finished The Fall of Hyperion, and I need to. And it's been ongoing for about a decade that it's one of my favourite sci-fi books of all time, and I haven't finished it. Just put them all in one volume. Just put them all in one volume, because this looks like a new book that I then have to pick up. Anyway, Before They Are Hanged is the second instalment, and I really need to get around to that one. And Kamza started without me. Kamza, you watching this? Naughty. He started without me reading the Rain Wilds quadrilogy. He's not feeling this apparently, which is a shame because we really enjoyed our Fool's Fate read along, so I'm hoping that he's wrong. We'll have to see. Robin Hood is amazing. My dad wasn't a fan of this either. I don't think he got all the way through it. I can't remember exactly why, and I don't think he can either, but need to get started. It's a high priority read. Another high priority read is in the bag. There's a bag! The Will of the Many. The Will of the Many, this is a very high priority read. Dark academia fantasy, a novel that my friend Mare from Lady Mare Reads shouts about. We've even got like a little meme, you know, the seagull, the shouting seagull. The Will of the Many! Every time this book is mentioned, she comes running, and she's usually got pretty sound taste as well. So, plus it's a chunkster. These words are so small. Like, I bought the paperback because I thought it would be easier to like handle. I thought maybe, you know, but they've done it with teeny tiny text, and yeah, I'm not yeah, probably it's going to be a glasses on type read. But yeah, Will of the Many, absolutely top of the pile. This is the problem when you've got so many books that you want to read. They're all high priority, and there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so many days in the week, and quite a few of those have not been used to the best of my ability recently. This is a really nifty like way of storing books. Rocky's on top, my book dragon. He's he's here with me. I know someone who'll I know someone who will appreciate this. A dragon librarian, Rebecca, over at Farmington Community Library. She has lots of dragons which join her during her videos, so I'm sure she will appreciate Rocky. I'll leave him there. Yeah, so I've sorted these all out by vibe. Maybe I should show you that now. In fact, yes, that's my next task. Let's go through the rotunda. A quick Google search proves that I'm using the word rotunda wrong, and these ones have quite, you know, that kind of modern stylized minimalist covers that I go crazy for, particularly like this one because it's again a nocturne as well. And this one is I'm very excited about. It's for the book along list. So yeah, all of these have a great covers. I really like them. General fiction. So is there anything on there that you think I should definitely prioritise? Just give me a shout. Here we have the first in one of my series of hotel-based books set in hotels. I love books set in hotels. There's always a story to be had there. This one's not a hotel so much as apparently Love Island meets Lord of the Flies, which I'm down for. In fact, this one's definitely coming with me on the reading retreat. And as is Asylum Hotel. I mean, look at that. That just looks like, you know, American floppy paperback and autumn vibes all over. When you're running away from ghosts and stuff, it's very difficult to be preoccupied with in your own head. So I think that'll be some good escapism. Again, we've got more hotel-themed books with quite liminal space-looking covers. Love a bit of Ruth Ware. I'm not sure if that's on a holiday. Failed summer vacation. I read this. I just bought this based on the. I just bought this on the blurb. The summer vacation is not a complete failure quite yet. There's still a lot left we can ruin. Love it. Anyone who is arguing over on about Herkyard about what is teal, I would say this is pretty teal, although the light is, yeah. So if you're looking for a teal book for Herkyard, and I believe this would also be good for Arab Heritage Month, because I believe the author actually discusses their Arab heritage in the actual story itself. So that's a really good Herkyard book if you haven't got one for those already. I've got the listeners, every single version of this book has a completely different cover, and I've got another version over, I'll show you later. They have completely different vibes, but again, it's set in a hotel. The Dream Hotel is a much more serious book, I think. It's about what if they could predict that you're likely to commit a crime and can lock you up for it. Kafkaesque. Yeah, let's stick that on the pile as well. The Invisible Hotel, like the cover on that one. That's, yeah, again, more hotel-based books, mysteries and otherwise. Down here we have some more high priority fantasy, some horror. I'm not in the mood for anything too provocative at the moment, so I'll probably steer clear down here. But yeah, there are some that I'm very interested in there. Here we have some more that were listed for Booker prizes. One reading challenge I was doing had 2 books with the same cover on it, and I read a book called Havoc earlier on in the year, so I wondered if that one might be a good one, but I haven't actually fully checked it out yet. I just went on, and these are cover purchases. Do you want to see some beautiful covers? So we've got The Imagined Life by Andrew Porter. This was something that Ben Reed's Good predicted might be on the book along list, but sadly it wasn't. by that time it was too late. I'd seen the cover. And yeah, it's about a chap who I think goes on a search for, I think he kind of drops everything and goes on a search for lost relatives or something, and it looks very, very beautiful. This one also has a beautiful cover. This is apparently very good. Waterstones highly recommends it. Won the debut fiction prize, and they brought out another version. Cute minimalist covers. It's just, yeah. So these are all, and this one sounds like it's full of surrealism and yeah, experimental fiction. So yeah, there's loads there. Same here. Private Rights. Okay, Private Rights is coming with. I love Julia Armfield's sapphic horror, Our Wives Under the Sea, and I suspect if this has got a melancholy vibe to it, I'm down. So we'll go with that one. Oh, similarly, yep, The Sleepwalkers. You can see how they've all got vibes to them. This one is also set in a hotel, I think, and it's about a couple who are behaving strangely, and the drama of the other guests. I'm not sure. It's coming with. I think I'm going on the train, so it depends how many we can get. Depends how many we can get. Oh, and the new Murakami as well. Yep. And everybody loves some crime. So these are some Japanese crime fiction novels that have just come out. Strange Pictures was extremely popular, which means I'll probably like slack on it a little bit, because if something's extremely overhyped, I get ambivalent to it. Maltese Falcon, that will be for the hard-boiled subgenre prompt. And yeah, Murder at the House of Omari, another brilliant cover. How could I resist that? And you can't go wrong with Agatha Christie. Some beautiful historical and, well, okay, I say historical, some of this is historical adjacent. I don't think you could really kind of class Ladies' Night as, yeah. This one is a Q-wordy wreck, and obviously she is the person who is responsible and running Herkyed. It was her, that's her channel and her challenge, and this was something that she recommended, and it looks really good. Fingersmith and the Historian, two very highly recommended historical fiction novels. More crime. God of the Woods. This is another high priority. Why have I not read this yet? It was up there with that book by Rebecca Mackay. I Have Some Questions for You. Very, very well respected murder mystery. Going on the pile. Coming with me. This one looks like something I'll be reading closer to Christmas. Everybody loves a bit of Christmas crime. Books about love, intimacy, loneliness, mental health. Yeah, let's go with the Lonely City. It's by Olivia Lang. They write basically a memoir about being lonely in New York City, and I love the cover, and they're quite an up and coming writer at the moment. I'm seeing their stuff everywhere. Some slightly sexy books. These are also coming very, very, very highly recommended. Lost in the Garden, I love a bit of folk horror. This is shouting Wicker Man at me from the cover. I Who Have Never Known Men, very highly recommended, but probably a little bit deep for what I'm after at the moment. Some sci-fi by Tade Thompson, another book by Lavi Tadar, who is highly recommended by Samantha Shannon. Moon of the Crusted Snow. This is by a Canadian Indigenous author, Wabgisha Grice, and he is, like I say, incorporating a lot of the culture into his novels, and I saw him talking about that on his YouTube. So yeah, that is on the pile. That's coming with. And Who Wants to Live Forever? I think this might be a bit emotional for me at the moment, but I love a kind of speculative fiction. Basically it's about a couple, one of whom decides they want to take pills to live forever and the other one doesn't, and it's about how that affects their relationship, and it's probably going to be very, very deep, so maybe I'll wait a bit on that one. Edge of Here by Kelechi Okafor. I've heard this is a really good short story collection, but again, I haven't actually looked any further into it than that. And here we have a little bit of romance and escapism and whatnot. Need to get around to this one very soon. Recently read Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sugimura, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. But again, I'm not sure I'm ready to cry that hard. This one I think has been billed as kind of sapphic Bridgerton, so yeah, that looks like fun. And is that the rest of them? Yeah, we are back. We're back to the beginning. So that is my rotating bookshelf. I hope you enjoyed that a little tour of it. And yeah, back to Ray. Back to Ray in studio. How are we feeling about the bookshelf tour? Do we want more bookshelf tour? I'll show you my other unit downstairs later, because again, these are books I'm hoping to get to soon, and you can help me bump them up the TBR, because a lot of what I read is based on mood and also it's based on hype. So if a friend tells me, you will love this, Ray, you specifically will love this, it does get picked up sooner. So if you think you know my reading taste and you think, you know, you can help me out there, please do. I am very interested to know what you think I should be reading next. We're mostly, like I say, we're only downstairs because that's where these particular books are. I will go back to my studio next time. Anywho, I promised I'd let you know what I got from the bookstore the other day. My friend has bought me this. It's got a cat's reading on it. She knows me so well. I was very well behaved yesterday in Waterstones. I only bought 3 books. I was very good. Didn't go over the top. I did find some kind of Christmas crime that I will be interested in purchasing, but that is that's a different video, a different TBR. So first of all, I bought a book called The Dizziness of Freedom. This is the latest release from Bad Betty Press, who are a poetry publisher, and they're local to Nottingham. In fact, I have met Jake Wildhall, who runs it with his partner, and this is an anthology of poetry from various different writers, all on the subject of mental health. And it's grouped by vibe, basically. So it's grouped poetically, which I love. And I just feel like this might be a nice thing to read at the moment. For Herkyed, you could read something like this for non-fiction, because poetry, when it's people telling their own truth and talking about how they feel, that I would class that as non-fiction, although there is a kind of sometimes quite almost kind of an auto-fictional element to it. And also disability as well. Lots of different disability experiences, because having, you know, obviously mental health conditions are disabling as well, and that's something that that sometimes people forget. It has audio links to make it more accessible with QR codes throughout, and so I'll let you know what I think about this when I've read it. I don't know how easy it is to get hold of, because like I say, Bad Betty Press are a local press, but it's always great to support small publishers, because then you get a wider range of things. You don't just get what's big and marketable, you get and Bad Betty do like to showcase diverse voices, and they do a lot of spoken word poetry events as well. So it's passion. The people who are running and publishing it are full of passion, and that's a wonderful thing. So, you know, if you do get a chance to check them out, I would absolutely encourage you to do so. The other ones I got, I can't remember who told me that this was good, and now I'm looking at the cover. I'm not entirely sure what this is. I'm not sure. It looks like a woman swimming and being attacked by underwater horses. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is Colony by Annika Norlin, which I believe is translated from the Swedish, but I'm not 100% on that one. And this is a blurb purchase, basically. Burnt out from a demanding job and bustling life in the city, Emily has left town to spend a few days in the country. Once there, in the peaceful verdant hills down by the river, she encounters a mysterious group of 7 people, each with personal stories full of pain, alienation, and the longing to live differently. They are misfits, each in their own way, and all led by the enigmatic and charismatic Sarah. How did they end up there? Are they content with the rigid roles they've been assigned? And what happens when an outsider appears and is initially drawn to their alternative lifestyle but cannot help stirring things up? A masterful blend of humour, emotion, unforgettable characters, and sharp social commentary. Colony is a magnetic and deeply touching story about love, community, and the unfathomable power we have over others and that others have over us. So it looks like it's going to be pretty deep. Yeah, a little bit eerie, which is nice. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that cover there. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I was intrigued and I picked this up. So am I bringing it with me? Maybe. I'll probably go for things that are a little bit less serious for the reading retreat and then read it when I get back. But I reckon that's going to be a soon. But we all know what nonsense it is. We all know that I'm full of nonsense when it comes to, yeah, I'm going to read this one next. It's been years. The Will of the Many has been on there for years. And apparently we're reading the latest McEwan on the retreat. So if I get there and none of you have this, if I have been duped into more McEwan. So this is social reading. Everyone wants to be reading this, so I will be joining in. So I had What We Can Know by Ian McEwan. I have a love-hate relationship with Ian McEwan. Sometimes his writing is great, sometimes it's a little bit iffy. And I know he managed to annoy the sci-fi community by I think it was a while back. He wrote a literary sci-fi novel and then didn't want it to be associated with sci-fi and upset the sci-fi community a little bit. So let's see. I mean, he writes a lot of different things and he's quite prolific in his writing at the moment. So I'll be interested to see how it goes. But I'm a slow reader, so everyone else will probably read this in a day. And I'll probably have got to about chapter 3 and read about 5 other different books. Right. Shall I show you what else is possible? Show you the rest of my room? Then we've pretty much done the downstairs. There's a few more little shelves here and there, but that's pretty much the downstairs. That's part 1 bookshelf tour over. We did it, guys. So one thing you might notice about this particular setup is that there are some crystals. I'm very fond of my crystals. So just if you see anything you like, then shout it out. I'm not going to pull all the books off so you can see what's behind them. A lot of the ones behind are kind of special editions of things as well. But here we have the Song of Achilles, which I was supposed to be reading ages ago. The Passengers on the Hankyu Line, again, looks like a brilliant, emotional Japanese healing fiction book. And again, it's probably slightly too emotional for me at the moment. The ones on here that I probably will be wanting to bring with, Record of a Night Too Brief by Hiromi Kawakami. I believe it is a sapphic novel by the author of Under the Eye of the Big Bird. I've also read a romance novel by her, Strange Weather in Tokyo, and she's just a fantastic voice and highly recommend her work. So I'll have to have a look at that one. That particular version of Dance 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 I bought because of the cover. I bought it when I was in Istanbul because it was like a floppy, I think it's an American copy, but it was floppy and beautiful, and I don't think I've got one yet. The T. Kingfisher Paladin series I'm very excited about. And I think that might be a good cosy one to read. So what do you think? Have you read it? I know T. Kingfisher is very popular at the moment. She's got a lot out. And yeah, these are the ones I'm most excited by her. And not just because they come in beautiful pastels there. Guy Morpus, I am planning on reading a couple of his because I very much enjoyed Black Lake Manor. I wonder if Five Minds is going to be just as good. Let's hope so. Another one that is a sequel that I need to get to and haven't, Moonflower Murders by Anthony Horowitz. Really love the kind of Poirot meets Midsummer Murders vibe of that one. And we have a couple more thrillers there. couple at the table, Death of Mrs. Westaway. I'll probably bring a couple of Ruth Wares with me because I love her work. And there's a Camilla Shamsi one at the bottom there as well, but again, she's a very good writer, but a bit more serious. So, on the top we've got a stack of non-fiction books that I'm hoping to get to as soon as possible. So Divided is about inequalities in healthcare, and It's Probably Nothing is about inequalities and sexism in healthcare. On Our Best Behaviour is about how women are expected to behave in certain ways, or they get kind of socially punished for it, I believe. So yeah, again, it's just kind of a book about feminism. Got some more art there, and some books, some non-fiction books about the experience of disabled people. If we go down, yeah, we have more lovely crystals, and oh, this copy of The Listeners. One sec. See, the cover's got a completely different vibe to the other one. It just completely, it's hard to tell what this book is going to be like. And this one is coming with me, The Key in the Lock. Absolutely love gothic vibes. Anything like that. Candles, Victoriana. Yep, you're coming with me. You're coming with me. You can see Heartstopper at the back there. Another Laura Shepherd Robinson. She is amazing, and I'll be reading everything in her back catalogue. Books about art. Love a good book about art. And yeah, The Wedding People is about starting again, so that's something that might be quite a nice cathartic read. I think When the Tides Held the Moon is an Achillean romance with a merman and the sirens. I don't know if there's any romance in that at all, but there might. I would guess there's mer people. Here we have a very autumnal looking shelf. So guys, do you see anything that you like here? Because I just want to bring all of these with me. All of these books. I think I've been told How High We Go in the Dark is going to make me cry, so let's not bring that one. Yeah, some great hardback crime novels there. And at the bottom we have, again, some more non-fiction, but I think I'm probably going to have to wait until I'm in a little bit of a better state of mind before I read those. Yeah, so that's where we are. Those are that's my tower. Sorry about the banana. Let's get back to studio. Now, I say I'm not quite in the right headspace for reading non-fiction, but books that can give you a more positive or neutral kind of way of looking at the world is probably quite helpful right now. And one of those is this collection by Alice Wong called Disability Intimacy. And I believe it's an essay about, well, basically it says essays on love, care and desire. I'm not sure how far that is into kind of sexual intimacy with disability, or whether it's kind of covering other kind of relationships too. Just about intimacy in general and connections that people make, and the struggles and also the joy with in the context of disability as well. And I just think this sort of thing, because there's so much kind of negativity, and the more positivity and advocacy out there, the better. So I've read Disability Visibility, which was collected by Alice Wong, which collected a lot of different voices, and I learned a lot reading that, and I would highly recommend it to everybody. If you're interested in understanding other perspectives and being part of the solution rather than part of the problem. But this one I think is probably going to take things a little bit deeper. It's going to be more specifically involved with kind of human relationships. So I do think I should read this. I'm going to keep that towards the top. And also I'm going to read this book called Body Neutral at some point soon by Jessie Neeland. And some people feel like, say, obviously body positivity is a hugely important movement. The acceptance of us just living in our bodies, and that's for everybody. It doesn't matter what size it is, what disabilities you have to contend with. You exist in the body that you exist in. and body positivity, it can be hugely helpful for a lot of people. But also the movement can sometimes feel alienating, particularly if you've got a lot of other kind of baggage and, you know, other kind of stuff going on when it comes to body image and when it comes to, you know, your relationship with your physical form. So body neutral is basically, my understanding of body neutrality is that it's more thinking, instead of thinking, I love my body, if you struggle to think in those kind of positive terms, it's more of a way of living and accepting your body how it is without necessarily having to have any thoughts about it. Kind of like my body is the least interesting thing about me kind of thing. And I read articles on body neutrality by the you know, the people who kind of advocate for it, and I'm hoping that, because often if you have a lot of, you know, often reading books where they're telling you have to think a certain way and feel a certain way, it can, like I say, it can feel a little bit scary and alienating. So I'm hoping that body neutrality will be a little bit more useful overall in terms of self-image. And if I find that book is, you know, helpful and wholesome, I'll be recommending it to everybody. A book that I do find extremely good on the subject is called The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. I definitely shouted about it on Instagram when I first read it. Wonderful book. And if you haven't read it, it's one that I would. There's not many books that I wholeheartedly say, especially non-fiction, because non-fiction is so complicated, but that is a very wholesome book, and yeah, highly recommend it. The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. I also brought some books down from the attic. This is a book that is not coming away with me, but is beautiful. This is my folio of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. Now, we all love a gothic tale in the autumn, and look at this cover. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it was absolutely irresistible to me. And is this going to be, it's got pictures on the inside as well. When I get back from my retreat, I think this is something that has to be quite high up the list to read, but it's one that I'm quite careful with, because it's, like I say, it's a special one. That I have read. I read The Haunted Hotel by Wilkie Collins. I thought that was just okay. I haven't read The Woman in White. I've read Lady Audley's Secret by Audrey. No, it's not by Audrey anyone. It's called Lady Audley's Secret. And Elizabeth, blah, blah, blah. Can't remember the author's name, but you know, that's that kind of Victorian melodrama, gothic novel. It was very much of its time. So I'm a little bit kind of primed on what to expect with that one, but I'm hoping it'll be good. Let's see what else I've got. Oh yeah, another one that's everybody's reading at the moment is On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. So I'm just going to leave that around so I can read little bits of it as I can. But yeah, I think it's about learning lessons. It's about learning lessons from world history, and yeah. Other ones that are maybes, so give a shout out in the comments if any of these are going on the list. Oh, actually I don't necessarily need a shout out for this one, Ordinary Love. I already spoke about this one in the last Herkyard video I did. Looks very interesting. It's a kind of second chance romance between two women who were kind of involved when they were teenagers, and then one of them's marriage breaks down, I think, or doesn't. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but it's basically a second chance romance with a beautiful cover. More turquoise than teal, but I'm using it for teal of the rainbow because we're allowed to count any kind of greeny blue or bluey green. Another one that has been I've seen this one everywhere. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. It's basically about someone turns up at they buy a new house, and then someone turns up saying, "Oh, we used to live here," and then they won't leave. So, I mean, in my head, you'd probably call the police, so we'll have to see why that isn't an option. And just premise purchase. Very interesting. I think this one won, was it the Ursula Le Guin Prize? It won something. The Reformatory by Tananarive Jew. This is a horror. This is a horror first. This is just a horror. So it might be a little bit more. It might be a little bit more horror than I'm willing to read at the moment. But I do like horror. I like creepy horror rather than gross out horror. So if there's a lot of body horror, if there's a lot of yucky stuff, nope. I do like creepy horror. This is more, it sounds like a reformatory school that someone is sent to very, very unfairly. Because it says he was in a minor scuffle with a white boy, and then he was sent to this awful reformatory, and that several boys have died there before, and it's got like a sadistic school warden and things like that. Stephen King has blurbed it, and it does sound a bit Stephen King, doesn't it? It does sound like the sort of thing that Stephen King would enjoy. Probably, I would guess there were themes of racism throughout from what it says in the blurb. It's set in the 50s. So this is apparently a very, very good book. It definitely, like I say, it definitely won a prize. I just can't remember exactly which one. Have any of you read it? What do you think? Is it to go on my TBR, or will it be a little bit much for me emotionally at the moment? I'm quite happy to take advice. I'm bringing this one back downstairs. All of Us Strangers. I need to watch this film. I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to watch the film first, because it was initially the film that I was drawn to after seeing the trailer. And then obviously there is the book Strangers by Taichi Yamada. I believe it will fit a couple of Herculean prompts, but I'm not going to necessarily say what they are just in case it's spoilers. I'll have a read and find out. Either way, to be read. What would autumn be without some dark academia? Oh my goodness. This one apparently has been very, very highly recommended. I've got a Goldsboro edition and an Illumicrate, so the fact that it was chosen for both of those book subscriptions meant that it was quite hyped. I think it is the first in a series, but The Raven Scholar is also a murder mystery apparently, and also a fantasy novel. And it feels a little bit like Voyage of the Damned from the blurb. Rival monasteries sending sending people to potentially, be the next person in line for the throne, and then someone gets murdered. I'm not entirely sure how it's decided. I don't know if they're going to kind of battle royale it or what. It's not entirely clear, but I have heard very, very good things about The Raven Scholar, and it looks like it's got properly good autumnal vibes. I love the cover of this one, so I'm hoping that this will be like a Station 11 type book. Bit like, like The Road meets Station 11 kind of thing. But I'm just guessing that from the picture. Not Alone, a post-apocalyptic novel by Sarah K. Jackson. In a dying world, how far will a mother go to save her child? So it's 5 years post-apocalypse after a toxic microplastics storm. And yeah, it sounds very like The Road, but I'm hoping there'll be a little bit more hope than with The Road, because The Road was a very bleak story. You have to be in the right frame of mind for The Road by Cormac McCarthy, because good grief, that book is one of the most miserable books I've ever read in my life. And I've read a lot of miserable books. Kind of wallowing in misery is something I do quite effectively. What else have we got here? Another one that's kind of yellowed very quickly, actually. The pages have gone very this is basically there's a wedding, and then all of a sudden people start kind of refusing to get up and just kind of sitting down and refusing to get up, and then it kind of spreads. So it's kind of, again, what's going on there? Have they taken drugs? Have they got some kind? Is it some kind of what's going on? It's called Are You Happy Now by Hannah Jameson. I read a book called The Last by Hannah Jameson, which was a really good. I really thought it was good. A post-apocalyptic murder mystery. So I picked this up based on the fact that it was by her. Haven't seen it on social media. It hasn't been very kind of promoted everywhere. It's not something I've seen a lot of, but the premise definitely sold it to me. And again, it's one that I should have got to by now. So that's a maybe. This is it's gonna be a long video, isn't it? I'm sorry, this was supposed to be a quickie. So yeah, speaking of gothic vibes, The Housekeepers by Alex Hay. I've got a ton of books that have kind of gothic Victoriana, you know, kind of map of old house in the front kind of books. And so yeah, it's my thing. It's my thing, it's my vibe. I think this one's got a heist. I think this has got kind of an upstairs downstairs kind of tropey, yeah, upstairs downstairs trope, revenge, stuff like that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be my sort of thing. This is just based on the cover and the premise alone. So yeah, I need to get around to some more of my gothic vibey books. I also bought this one, Caroline Blackwood, The Stepdaughter. This looks kind of creepy. Themes of so I think it's one of those kind of lonely women on the edge books that I really love. And yeah, I think it's basically about two women living together and it being a bit of a creepy vibe. I haven't read any Caroline Blackwood either, but I just love the cover, I love the creepiness, and now it's actually quite short, so I reckon I can polish that off. This might be a good one, because with Hercule it's got a prompt, read as much as you can within 24 hours, and that's the challenge. So I'm wondering, obviously you can't you can only use the books that you read in that challenge for one of the prompt. So I was thinking about picking, you know, a couple of short books and seeing if I could get through a couple of short books in that time. So this one might be a good one for that when I get round to it. If I was going to read a cozy book, obviously we've got the Paladin series by T. Kingfisher, but the other one that I can't resist the cover of is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Liang. And yeah, a wandering fortune teller finds an unexpected family in this warm and wonderful debut fantasy. So I don't like anything too cozy. I'm guessing this is probably going to be too cozy for me. Probably. Look at the cover. I couldn't say no to that cover. So if I was going to be reading something cute, I'd probably pick that. I do read cute stuff. I do read nice stuff sometimes. In theory, I'll be reading nice books all the time. It's just, they tend to make me feel worse rather than better. Like, I'm just, you know, when you're kind of frustrated, like when something's too saccharine, it just feels frustrating. I can't think of any other way to kind of express that. But I know I'm not the only person who thinks that. I do have other friends who don't get the warm fuzzies from from that sort of thing. Starling House. Sorry, this is again the light shining on it. I think this is a haunted house one. Yeah. Haunted house book. Got it from Aluma Crate. Still haven't read it. Should have read it. Now is the time of the year to be reading haunted house books. So yeah, I'll stick that with The Housekeepers. And yeah, maybe it'll come on the retreat, maybe it won't. But you do have a chance to, you do absolutely have the chance to influence me, because I am very suggestible. If you say to me, Ray, you need to read X, that is what we want to see you read, that is what we want to talk about with you, then I am down for it. So please, please let me know your thoughts. I am listening. Oh, I almost forgot. 1 second. Catabasis. How can I forget Catabasis? This is one of the biggest releases right now. Everyone is so excited about it. Everybody's reading it. I still haven't read Babel. I was supposed to read Babel years ago and I didn't. I love R.F. Kuang. I loved, she is so smart. She is so smart. She is so eloquent. She's so fun to listen to. She is so quirky. I just think she's brilliant. And yeah, this is the Broken Binding edition. The other one is the American Special edition. It's A Descent into Hell, and I am seeing mixed reviews. So some people, I mean, I think when you've got a book that is hyped this much, when you've got a book that is like put on a pedestal and this book's coming out, there are going to be people disappointed because your expectations are going to be sky high. And like, I tend to just try not to get my hopes up too much about books. There are ones that I think, yeah, I probably will like this, like the A Song of Legends Lost. I'm pretty sure that's going to be my sort of thing. I feel in pretty safe hands with Robert Jackson Bennett. Drop of Corruption, I don't think he'll disappoint me, and everyone says, yeah, it's good, so, you know, I think I'm probably going to be all right with that. But yeah, so some people have been disappointed, but a lot of people are loving this book, so it's high priority. Should I bring it? Should I bring it on the retreat? It's probably a bit long for the retreat, because otherwise I'll just end up reading just one book, and I want to read a selection. I want to have a few things on the go. But when you're a mood reader. Anyway, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and I will, yeah, be with you for another video soon. Just yeah, if there's anything you want, if there's anything that you want me to talk about, anything that you want me to read, I'm quite happy. I take requests. It may be a while before I get round to them, but I'm quite, I love the community that I find on BookTube. I love the community that I find on, social media, Discord, Litsy, Instagram. Book communities are the best. So it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you, and let me know if you want to see the rest of the bookshelf because I can do more tour videos if you are interested. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll see you soon.